Hello and welcome to another episode of Epic Sketch Time. I'm going to be your host this week. My name is Mark Monlux. I'm a freelance illustrator here in Tacoma, Washington. And people, introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a freelance illustrator and cartoonist in Seattle, Washington, and I do a webcomic called Rhapsodies.
How do I switch the camera? There you go. I'm Charlotte Silva, and I'm just a cartoonist wannabe in Washington.
Hey everybody, my name is Castruita. I am the owner of Unfed Artist. I'm an illustrator, graphic designer, and comic artist working out of Tempe, Arizona.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, Ian.
Okay. I bought a microphone finally, so.
Oh, good. So before we go to screen share, the topic of Inktober had been brought up, so I do my own share of the 8 that I've got done so far. So first we have the prompts of Poisonous and Tranquil. Then after that, the posts Roasted and Spell. Chicken and Drooling. And finally, the most recent, Exhausted and Star.
I like Exhausted.
I'm surprised how many people came out that, because I'm perfectly happy with the concept, but I think I rushed it a little bit, and I thought personally, even though I've gotten plenty of likes on it, I thought it was a little sloppy.
Way to tear yourself down, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Should let us do that for you.
Okay.
How about you, Ian? What have you been working on?
So I can actually, let me just make this easy on everybody. So I've really been dialing it in. This was the one from last week, Poisonous, that you saw me working on in the last Epic Sketch Time. And then I completely dropped the ball on the rest of the week. And so I created a new hashtag called Incrastination.
Oh,
and it's basically you use all the words you missed in a single drawing. And so this is a roasted chicken genie being gazed at by a drooling dog, which I said is probably very tranquil for the dog. So that was Saturday, and then of course I missed yesterday. So today I am working on an Exhausted Star, and I'm looking forward to that. I got my pencils in, and I got my brush pens ready. I'm just looking for some tips and tricks in this new book that I bought. So hopefully it shouldn't take too long, and then I'll probably be working on my my comic for the rest of the hour.
I guess it's my turn to show off what I've done. So let me get everything queued up. Yeah, transfer my monitor just a moment. So I decided to do another series, not using the prompts, but and once again I chose as my subject matter obscure movie monsters. So this is the Boogans. And for day 2, I did Milo. And for day 3, I did Sleepwalkers, which is probably the worst Stephen King movie out there.
Oh, dear.
Number 4 is At the Earth's Core. Believe it or not, Peter Cushing is in this little direct film.
Poor guy.
And then we have Monstered. A monster made out of, yes, you get it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I didn't eat yet. Jeez.
And this is one of my favorite movies from the 80s, Slugs. Carnivorous slugs. Everyone should...
Oh, speaking of slugs, I have to show off a little something I cranked out as Clip Studio art practice. I'm trying to still get better. So this was a very quickie of a very bad pun that occurred to me.
I actually would like that quite a bit, Bill.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think you should post that up on Instagram. You are going to get so many hints.
I only got 2 so far. But
well, did you do it with the hashtag snail mail?
I had snail and I had mail, but
you need to do it with the 2 combined because
yeah,
I'm confident this will get a following. And the last image I did last night before I went to bed, I was kind of going, oh my God, I haven't done it in October. So I grabbed the Tingler.
the Googler?
The Tingler. It's a Vincent Price movie, a castle film. There was a gimmick where they installed vibrators on various chairs in the theater, and they'd say, if your chairs tingle, the tingler's in the room, and the only way to scare off the tingler is through a burst of adrenaline, which you can do by screaming at the top of your lungs. So the entire audience was encouraged to scream as loud as they could.
yeah, it was. I mean, it's sort of like, I'm sure the original model doesn't look half as good as you made it. Because, I mean, it's sort of, at the moment, it kind of reminds me of what the design for the aliens from Mission Gravity would look like.
I was trying to go by this one scene where Vincent Price is trying to pry one off of his arm. And but yes, I had a lot of fun with that last night. And I think I'll work on today is coloring one of my aliens.
I can see the Badara and the Bellagio. Ta-da! Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm doing a better share of my my Instagram window in case anybody was having trouble seeing. I didn't realize how big my screens are. So there's the roasted chicken genie, and there's Poisonous from last week. So rather than try to hold my sketchbook
I love
up
the idea of that.
Oh, go ahead.
I love the idea of the combination of the incrustation where you put multiple in one. That is a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure procrastinators around the world are thanking me for that one. I'm just waiting for my fan mail to arrive. But yeah, it's actually more fun, in my opinion, because I mean, I was going to do robots. And, it's just like last year I was kind of feeling the pressure along with all the other like client work that I had and my own personal comics and everything. It's like, oh, I got to do this also. And so now you can just procrastinate.
Exactly. But I love that picture.
Thank you. Yeah, I figured that was the other kind of unspoken rule, is like you really had to put some effort into it. So I spent time finding references, and I put a lot of line work and color into it. So
I've always tried to get them done as quickly as possible. If I spend more than half an hour doing the inking, I think I've kind of failed somewhere.
Really?
Oh yeah, I just crank these things out. To me it's like Bill said, it's more of an exercise than anything.
That makes me want to show you one of my friends from the IMC, who's an amazing artist. Let me see if I could find her stuff. She has just been blowing me away with the effort that she's been putting in. And I'm sure she's not the only one, but it's no, it's not her. I'll have to search. Let's see here.
once again, this particular alien you guys seen before. It's the weapon used by the alien, and it came without warning. Lovely little flesh-flying frisbee with tendrils.
Yeah, that's coming along pretty well.
Well, what I'm doing is I'm over these blues, and the reds. I like to put them in at 100%, and then I can tint them all back to make them a little less garish. I'm gonna say I'll probably pull the blues back to about like yay on this. But yeah. I like that way. I don't have to really worry about the color being perfect.
We're hitting a dead zone again, aren't we?
I'm putting a link to my friend's Instagram account because I think everybody should check it out. Her name's Sarah, and I have the first thing she did for Inktober on there, but it seems like every progressive day she just kind of takes it up a notch, and it's just so insane. This is an ink drawing that she did.
Wow.
And this one, I'm just absolutely.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
At wash or?
I think it's ink.
Yeah, an ink wash. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said gouache. Yeah, she's just. This is one that she dialed in and did really quick, which still I'm like, oh, quit and become an accountant. I mean, she's just so phenomenal. And then this one, I think she said she took a couple hours to do this one. It's
wow.
It's just crazy. So, by all means, definitely check her out. Follow her if you agree that she's phenomenal and should be on your Instagram feed.
Well, I'll certainly be adding her.
Okay, well, we're here at the place where my daughter's going to be performing, so I'm going to tune out, but it was nice being able to join in for once. Hope to join you guys again later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thanks for stopping by.
Enjoy your trip to Las Vegas.
Thanks. Bye.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a new face.
I think she's been on here once or twice before.
A few times. She's a regular at CNW, so.
Oh, well, new face for me. So.
What is her name, Bill?
Charlotte.
So, did you guys, either of you, participate in 24-hour comic?
Oh, I completely forgot about it this year, but no. And considering how I have enough sleep problems without messing with my schedule.
Yeah, it's it's something I've always kind of wanted to do, but I love sleep more than that. And it seems like all the people I really follow and everything, they all try it and they all peter out like around maybe hour 10 or something like that. That like their comics start out like really amazing and just like well thought out, and then like the last 10 are just like blip. It's just like, here's something, because they're delirious and they can't hold the pen straight, or they just gave up. But that being said, 24-hour comic day, I mean, it's led to some really amazing comics that I've really enjoyed.
I've done it. I didn't do it this year. Normally I lead my group in it, and I've done it for about, I think, the last 8 years. And of those 8 times, I finished the comic 5 times.
I've done it twice and finished it twice. So I'm not feeling particularly guilty about not participating.
Yeah, this year I realized I was going to be doing an event every weekend, and that this coming weekend I'm fishing with my brother, so I kind of want to be a little, fresh a week. And it always, like you said, you get really tired and punchy. There's a whole methodology to, you need to have the story written and storyboarded out within the first 2 hours. And then you need to have it at least penciled out by the 8th hour, because if you're going to be doing that inking, the inking just takes so long. And a lot of people will just do it in one full swell swoop. They'll write the story in ink and just draw at the same time, and they'll do a whole stream of consciousness thing. Like Donna Bard managed to do a 24-hour, 24 pages, and I think it was 10 hours.
Donna's scary that way.
But, she doesn't mind having one panel fill up the whole page, or where other people tend to limit themselves. She doesn't seem to really restrain. Hang on. Russ sent me a message. Let me see what he said. He says he's in the hangout. Russ is in the hangout, but we can't hear him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Oh, that's some cool stuff, Russ. Can you zoom out so we can see all of it? What the heck? Yeah, I wish I could hear you.
I wish I could hear you too, Russ, so that we could enlarge this. Wonder if your microphone's on the blink. But hey, oh yeah, this is for we have something called Friday Night Frights here in Tacoma, and Russ is doing this month's, which is Friday the 13th, Dream Warriors. Oh, look at that detail on the face there. That's.
Oh wow, yes.
Yeah, that's exceptional. Well done. I mean, you still have to keep on doing it, but well done so far.
Now, Russ told me that one time that he was planning on doing 2 versions of this, a blue version with syringes on the fingers, because that was a sequence.
Oh, I think I remember that. They're bringing back what's is it Friday the 13th? Mike Myers?
Oh, that's Halloween.
Halloween? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're bringing that back. They're bringing back the other classics.
That specifically. I mean, Rob Zombie did a remake of it a few years ago.
Really? Oh, yeah, you're right. I think I'd like to see Freddy Krueger back, though. That'd be fun.
Didn't they kind of sort of do a rehash of him 10 years ago with New Nightmares? Or what was the title of that one called? Where there was sort of like a documentary of all the films, but it wasn't really a documentary of all the films, but a movie about how Freddy Krueger was coming alive? Or
that sounds awesome. I need to check that out. Wasn't there like a Freddy versus Jason movie?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're making
Morse not working. Is that better?
Yes.
Well, we can at least hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but we're getting some occasionally we're getting some other garbage. It's like you've got the microphone and you're trying to clean your ear with it or something.
I tried.
Does that work, Mark?
That work?
I know you're not supposed to use cotton swabs, but
Okay, so I'm on a new microphone. Does that work?
yeah, that's
Oh, that's great. That's good.
Awesome. And to answer your question, yes, it was called A New Nightmare, and they brought him back. And the reason why they made the films for Friday the 13th is to trap him in the films so that he couldn't come out. And if they lapsed a couple years, then he could come out into the real world. And that's why they continued to make the movies.
Was that still Robert Englund or?
Yes, it was still Robert Englund.
Yeah, England, right.
But they are doing a new, I seem to recall that they are doing a new Friday the 13th with a new actor as Freddy.
Yeah.
They did a remake with it back in 2009.
Oh, so that didn't do, that's the one I must be thinking of.
And it wasn't that great. They used the same actor that was in, he played Warshak in Watchmen.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that guy. He's good. I haven't seen him in that much. I'm told he mostly directed until the Rorschach part.
Right.
But no, I mean...
It was him that was in the movie, though.
Whatever else Freddy. I may think of the movie adaptation of Watchmen, he was really good in it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, Russell, do you use photo reference or anything? Like, do you have like?
These, yeah, I've been using toys and things like that from the movies. Is what I've been using for all of these. But then everything else, like, I just hand sketch. So, like, I have my rough. Like, I'll pull up my rough. So this was the rough before I started.
Oh, okay.
And everything else kind of came in. And then I've actually, up to this point, it's all been on my iPad. So I'm noticing that I'm missing a lot of little details here and there. So I'm coming back in and fixing it in Photoshop right now. But I've been using Procreate up till now.
Oh, cool.
So I sketched it in Procreate, I inked it in Procreate, and then I've been coloring it in Procreate. But yeah, I noticed there's a lot of little... What's that?
What kind of tablet are you using?
It's just an iPad Pro.
Okay.
It's the smaller one. It's nothing fancy.
The Apple Pencil?
Yeah, an iPencil.
Yeah, no, I've been tempted. I play with it at the store whenever I get the chance, but
it's so worth it.
How's the battery on it as far as the whole use it as your clipboard thing?
Yeah, I sketched on this. So I've been working on this one, and I've had to charge it once since I started work on it. So about 3 days worth of sitting down and working on it at night in my room. So it lasts a long time.
Yeah, because I've been coming to the conclusion that it's only a matter of time that I have to have some sort of tablet. I mean,
yeah,
I'm competent on this one, but I'm not competent enough that I still do the bulk of my work the old-fashioned way, then scan and clean.
Gotcha.
And so I've been asking around, because I play with the, I'm not sure if I'm ready yet, but at the same time, it's not like I'm flush enough to get a Wacom, and
well, Stowe says that he wouldn't get another Wacom. He'd go and get a Surface Pro.
Yeah, I mean, I remember him going into great detail about how he would not get a iPad Pro.
Yeah.
And since I'm mostly a Mac user, I'm not sure if a Surface Pro would be my first choice, or where I'm at the moment being forced to be brand loyal.
In my experience so far, there's been a lot more drawing apps on the iPad that are easier to use and more accessible. There's a guy, I'll look his name up here in a second, but he does a lot of reviews, and all the reviews I've ever seen him do, he reviews everything, and he's pretty honest about it all, and everything that he's reviewed so far, iPad has been like the choice to go with.
Yeah.
Same thing with because he goes over it all, and he talks about like Procreate. They just came out with a program called InDesign, which is a vector-based program for the iPad. Photoshop. Yeah, and then Photoshop or Adobe products just announced early next year for a full version of Photoshop on the iPad.
The other one that I've been excited about, though I have mixed feelings about, because I'm slowly but surely completely moving over to Clip Studio Paint. I was excited that Clip Studio Paint finally had a version for the iPad, though I'm kind of confused by the sort of the subscription strategy. Because after all, if they're not having a subscription, if they don't have a subscription for the main big computer one, why in the world would they want to have a subscription for the tablet?
Right.
And I'm waiting it out because along with it being the subscription service, it sounds like it's still the beta version, because I've been hearing people complain about it a little bit.
If you guys got a moment, can you take a look and let me know if you see anything that's kind of... Well, that's a good response. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was just about to go over it with some gray marker, but like, sorry about the zoom. I don't know how to fix that, honestly.
No, I like it.
Yeah, that zoom is
Patrick running the marathon.
What's that?
Patrick running the marathon.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a generic star. I don't want to offend any IPs out there. So.
Gotcha.
So I saw Venom.
So
verdict.
I give it a 6.
Okay.
I've never asked you where does that fall on the go see it right now scale? I mean, is it 6 like go check it out in the theaters, or is it like wait for Netflix? What would you say?
On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is completely unwatchable, and 10 is an absolute must-see. But when it comes to 3D movies, even the bad ones, you have to rush and see them in the theater. Like, I would not watch Venom in a 2D theater. I mean, it's available in 3D. And so whenever a movie is available in 3D, sometimes it's designed for it. And in this situation, Venom is very much designed for 3D. And if you want to get the maximum effect of the joy that is Venom, I would definitely suggest, see it in the theater, get the full experience out of it.
All right.
I give it an extra point because it's got a dog with a name. It's sadly lacking robots. Now, I've only, as far as my Venom experience goes, I read the first comic installment where Venom came into the whole. This was back in the '80s when Venom first appeared.
Oh yeah, Todd McFarlane. That was a great comic.
And so I'm only really used to him as part of Spider-Man's costume. But then again, I stopped watching, or pardon me, I stopped reading the comics. I was really cheap at the time, so I wouldn't buy comics. I was reading. I had a friend who had an extensive collection of heavy metal and Marvel comics. And as long as you were careful with his prized possessions, he was more than happy to let you come over to his dorm room and read them. But you better treat him nice, otherwise you would get banned from his comics. So I want to thank my friend Randy for all those wonderful hours of being able to sit down and read his comics. But I never became a very avid collector myself. I do have some comics now, but most of them tend to be of the independent created variety and not the Marvel or DC universe. How about you guys? What's your collections like?
My collection is pretty extensive, though I don't collect as much as I used to. And a matter of fact, one reasons I'm not looking forward to visiting my folks for the holidays is that my mom had my folks were having the attic insulated, which meant that they had to bring down just about everything that was being stored up there, which included several of my long boxes. So she's going to
have a yard sale, did they?
No, though it's sort of. But at the same time, my mom I've been trying to make it very clear to my mother, just because I don't suffer the delusion that having a comic book collection is like owning bearer bonds anymore does not mean I want her to recycle them.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to do something about sending them back over here while you're there. Otherwise, she's going to get rid of them, right?
Or, well, there may be I'll think of something, but because it's sort of like the last time I had this come up, I was sort of calling everybody, I was being forced to research all the local stores, and a lot of these people were definite, even though I wasn't expecting top dollar or anything. At the same time, at least one of the guys is saying it was just take them off your hands for the quarter bin. And I'm going, dude, I may not be have any high hopes for this, but they're worth more than that.
Oh, so you're looking to sell them rather than bring them back.
I'm looking at my options because I got some nice stuff in that. I mean, I got the original run of Dark Knight Returns in that collection.
Nice.
For that matter, I have the entire Sienkiewicz run of New Mutants in there. So it's not like I have any McFarlanes, or, well, actually, people are into, I'm not this McFarlane fan that I used to be, but he's what brought me in, he's one of the things after Alan Moore that made me stop being a Marvel zombie and get into DC, because I loved his Infinity Incorporated run.
I don't know, Bill. I think you're going to have to bite the bullet and actually pay for shipping.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when I was collecting, it was the age of like the plastic bag limited edition. That
Yeah.
So if you opened it, you basically ruined the value of the comic. But not only that, like Marvel and DC were doing these things where it was like Superman. There was 4 Superman titles, and so they all intersected naturally. So if you were following the story on Man of Steel or something, it'd say to be continued, and Superman number whatever. And so you just kind of got pulled into this trap of buying like way too many comics, and then buying comics that you had to buy 2 of if you wanted to like collect them at all, because if you actually opened one, it would be worthless. And so I got burned out after all that. But it was cool to get like cool comics every once in a while, and to follow the stories that you really liked. Like,
yeah,
I love Spider-Man and Superman and all that.
Yeah, because I remember with some of the gimmicks they had for Superman, because fortunately, this is one of the rare cases where being that anal turned out to be a good thing as far as the collecting. But there was back when they had rebooted Superman completely, they had this Mylar logo on Superman's chest for the first reboot of Superman comics by John Byrne. And so I had a outbreak of silverfish the last time I had to go through this drama with my comics.
Oh,
and
God.
Fortunately, because I was as anal as I was about putting everything in bags, only a few issues, a few beyond the cardboard boxes they were in getting eaten, most of it survived pretty nicely. But one of the exceptions was that number 1 of John Byrne's Superman, and it's actually kind of cool in a creepy kind of way. The only thing that survived in this little bag of sawdust was the Mylar Superman logo.
Yeah. It's still pretty heartbreaking, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really got into J. Scott Campbell and the Danger Girl series.
Oh, that I remember. Beyond the blatant TNA of that thing, it was actually a fairly good, well done piece.
Yeah, it was fun, and I liked his stuff. I can't remember, like he did Spider-Man and stuff like that. But I started following artists more than I followed titles, and that kind of broke me away from the characters, and so I'd start to buy stuff just because a particular artist or a writer was doing it.
That was exactly how I was. I mean, to the point where I hang at, there's a few comic book stores I hang out socially at, and one time a person was there and asking me what my favorite comic, and he asked me what my favorite comic character was, and I drew a complete blank.
Yeah, I think it's still Spider-Man for me. I mean, mainly just out of childhood kind of wistfulness, but yeah, it was a lot more fun, especially when I knew I wanted to get into it, to just have like that favorite artist that you like to follow around. I remember the Top 10 series.
Oh, Gene Ha is awesome.
Xander Cannon.
The only thing I criticize him with is he's not very good at drawing children, but which is, I admit, something a lot of comic book artists suffer from. He's no worse than John Byrne in that respect.
Not
that
I remember that Top 10 series was just like, it was like a hammer to my head. I was just like blown away. And I can even remember when I first came across the graphic novel, because I didn't collect it issue by issue. If I had come across it, I would have. But I was just like looking through the graphic novel section of a library, and then I came across this, and I was like, how did I not know about this? This is it was gorgeous. And of course it's Alan Moore, so it was amazing story and all that. But yeah, that stuff that was what I loved about comics.
When Creepy started back up, I always enjoyed the old Creepy. So a couple years ago, they restarted the franchise. So I think I bought like the first 10 issues of the new Creepy. And then comic book store that I was buying them from went out of business. So.
Sucks.
And I was buying comics from like 3 different comic book stores with different subscriptions at each one. And the current comic book store that I buy my subscriptions from, or my stuff from, he doesn't believe in creating a file for you. You know, he doesn't have the overhead to do that, so he just doesn't bother with it. If you want that comic, you better make an effort to get in there and order it ahead of time and not just have a blank subscription. And I can understand his business model, but as a result, I was so in the habit of just having it on subscription with the other guy that I just never got back into buying as many comics. I would say that
Is that Michael?
yeah,
I have a subscription there.
every time I try to get a subscription with him, he hams and haws.
Really?
Well, he has he'll always make sure that I get the latest Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
So he's good about that. But I asked him to put some other stuff on, and he kept dropping the ball as far as getting them to me.
Oh, sad. Well, this is a recent thing with me, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of just thought I was gonna, instead of go to a comics shop, just start doing the digital stuff. And what's the subscription service that you, or the comic service that Amazon owns now?
That Comixology?
I think so. But yeah, I mean, just
as far as graphic novels are that I hadn't read before, I use the library's service.
yeah, that's another thing. I mean, for me, and part of this is like I live in my brother's spare bedroom, so I don't own like a house or anything, but I just have so much stuff. It really kind of sucks to like find out, or find an amazing book or something and just like, oh, I want this so bad, but where am I going to put it? Because I already have all this other stuff. I have 2 boxes of books and all of my comics, actually. They're all in storage right now. And, the point of them is just to have them there so you can kind of flip through them every once in a while. Like I do have the top 10 graphic novels out because, that I always look at those for inspiration. And the same with Danger Girl. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, like the only other stuff I have is, I think I have a Scott McCloud anthology of Zot. And
he's always good. Another one that I've been really getting into lately is I've been finally picking up Valerian.
Oh, really?
I mean, that guy is amazing. He's essentially it's like he's using the style that one would use for a humor strip for this relatively serious space opera.
I never thought about that. I knew the movie came out and it was based on a comic, but I'll have to check that out.
Oh, yeah. Valerian has been out for decades. The series has been going strong in France for so long. The movie did a lot better over there than it did here.
Oh, good. I mean, I can't say I loved it, but it was cool enough that I was very disappointed when I was hearing how badly it did.
Well, the guy I went to the movie with, my friend John, he hated it. He absolutely loathed the movie. He gave it a 1.
Ooh.
No, he gave it a 0. That's how much he hated it. He just really disliked it.
What was it about it that he didn't like?
Oh, you'd have to ask him directly, because I started toning him out because I really liked the movie. I wasn't going to listen to his arguments. Now, I had the first 4 copies of Danger Girl. It was given to me by John Munn, and I won them in a contest. And I turned around and I gave them as a prize in the contest for somebody else. And you know how sometimes you kind of regret doing something? Like I regret selling my Apple stock before the iPod came out.
Oh man, yeah.
So yeah, I kind of. What I do not regret is that I bought Netflix when it was $7 a share.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that really bumped up my portfolio. So it almost makes up for the sting of the Microsoft fiasco.
I was working at a used bookstore called Bookman's here in Arizona, and it's I can't remember how it went down, but you kind of go in and you trade your old stuff and see if they'll give you store credit and everything. And so there was like a glass case with some of the really nice comics behind it, and we were closing up one day, and my manager was getting ready to stock that glass case with some of the stuff that had come in that day, and for whatever reason I was over there, and he had the full collection of Danger Girl, like each issue, and I was like, oh God, like how much is this, man? Because I was seriously ready to throw down money for it, and he just kind of looked at it, and he's like, here you go, and he gave it to me, and I was like, oh my God. And I just didn't say anything because I didn't want to screw it up. I was like, okay. But that was an amazing gift. He just handed it to me. And yeah, one of the best things about working there was this, sometimes stuff like that would happen. He also, I mean, it's not as cool, but the original, is it Eastman and Laird, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Oh, wow, yes.
Those original issues came in and they were just trashed terribly. Like a kid had like torn pages and drawn in it and stuff. But I loved the Ninja Turtles so much I didn't care. And he knew about it and he gave me those. And so I still have those.
I know. I mean, I won't pretend to be the big fan beyond the nostalgia stuff, but I love their style.
Yeah, it's, I had never actually seen any of the comics. I was a fan of the Saturday morning cartoon, and I bought all the action figures and stuff, and I I went to see the Vanilla Ice movie in the theaters and all that stuff. Never saw the comic. So it is definitely something I definitely appreciate now, but I think if I was a kid I'd be like, well, this isn't as cool as the cartoon. I wouldn't have realized how awesome it was.
Yeah, I always find it weird because I frequently watch, as a fan of animation, I watch a lot of cartoons that are definitely below my age recommendation. So it's sort of like, I remember watching the Teenage Ninja Turtles cartoons mostly because I was a fan of the original Laird, and I was happy for them for getting that break.
Yeah, what a huge break, right? I mean, that's still paying dividends for them now.
Very much so.
Like the Nickelodeon cartoon right now is awesome. I don't catch it as much as I'd like to.
Oh, you mean that new one or the CGI one?
The new one, I think. I think it's CGI. Like it's computer animated cartoon.
Oh, that one is very good and very true to the material. There's a new one that just came out, of which lots of people hate it.
Oh, are you talking about the movie?
No, I'm talking about this cartoon that the latest cartoon iteration that just came out. They don't even look like the Turtles.
Yeah, that's probably not what I didn't even know about that one. Oh.
The newest one. Can you guys hear me? I think I'm broke out again. Did it work?
We can hear you now.
Oh, okay, there it goes. The newest one's actually the director or the character designer is the same guy as Samurai Jack.
Really?
Yeah. I have a buddy that works on the animation on the show.
Huh.
And yes, everybody's giving it a hard time. That and Thundercats.
There's another Thundercats remake?
And it looks like Steven's Universe.
Well, that doesn't sound right at all.
You just have to look at it. It's pretty bad.
A new version of Thundercats that looks like the Steven Universe designs.
Yes, sir.
I have not heard of this. I kind of liked the animation version of it they did a couple of years back.
And that was amazing.
I mean, it was a shame that it only lasted 1.5 seasons.
Yeah. Oh, and kind of back on Kevin Eastman, he actually was at my booth, or he was behind me. He boothed behind me at Denver.
Oh,
Guy is the most amazing guy you'll ever meet. Like, most down to earth, like, amazing person, just so nice and genuine.
I love hearing that. I mean,
yeah.
There was I was actually coming fresh out of a conference this weekend, and one of the speakers, a guy who was really big in the graphic design community, his name's Aaron Draplin, excuse me. He was talking about running into Gene Simmons at the airport, and how Gene Simmons was just like totally like blowing off a kid that wanted his or a guy that wanted his autograph, and just being a punk, and he was telling it just to kind of illustrate, like, you got to be awesome to your fans, and you got to be grateful. And
definitely. I mean, you hear stories. I mean, for example, on the comic book front, guys like John Byrne are notorious for being complete, total blankety blanks.
Yeah.
And then you run into people like Neil Gaiman and Clive Barker, who are, by all accounts, loved by everybody.
I got to meet Clive Barker once, and he drew in my sketchbook, and he's the nicest guy too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the story I'd heard.
Yeah. However, I have had experiences where I have artists that I like idolize and I love, and I'm just like, oh wow, these guys are great. You know how sometimes they tell you maybe it's better just never to meet your idols?
Yes.
Oh man, this one guy, and I won't say his name, but I met him at Emerald City for the first time, and he just blew me off. He wasn't nice, and I was just like, oh, shame, and it crushed me. It like literally crushed me, because he is such a phenomenal artist, and all I was doing, I was complimenting his work, and I bought some of his stuff, and he just didn't even give me the time of day. Like, I was just like, oh man, it kind of rubbed me raw, like, to be honest.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
So the new Ninja Turtles you're talking about, is that Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Quite likely.
Okay.
The art style, is it the one that has Raphael being twice the size of the other two?
Yes, he's a snapping turtle.
Yeah, that's the one.
They are different breeds of turtle?
Yeah, each turtle is a different turtle. Like,
I had not heard that detail.
Yeah, Raphael's a snapping turtle, like those big ones.
Yes.
And then Donatello, I think, is the red ear, or Leonardo is the red eared snapping turtle. Anyways, yeah, they're all different breeds, each one of them.
Any soft shells?
I think Michelangelo is. Hang on. Now I have to look it up.
That would suck to be a soft shell turtle and a ninja.
Yeah, it's definitely not what I'm used to. How is it though? Like, story wise and everything? I mean,
I watched the first episode. I don't know. It's entertaining. It's by no means the Ninja Turtles like what we grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm only quoting what I've been hearing with a lot of fan videos, and based on that, only one of the 4 liked it.
Huh.
But you haven't seen it yourself.
No. And
if you like it if you go to Nickelodeon's Facebook and you follow it, they put them on there for free. You can watch them on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a couple weeks after the fact, but it's still really kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do that.
Well, Russ, I wanted to tell you about this one Facebook group that I belong to called Horror Everything.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And on this thing, there are these watch parties where various members will just start streaming a movie for
Nice.
people to watch. And so I've actually watched some really hard, like I never saw, I'm trying to remember the last time I watched Dolly Dearest. I think it was in, I rented it with some other guys, and it was so bad that I ended up watching it by myself. They popped it out. They said, this is terrible. Anyone wants to watch this can watch this at the before we return it. So I was like up at 2:00 in the morning watching this horrible movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check out Horror Everything.
Okay, I will. I'll ask you again when I see you on Thursday.
Oh, speaking of horror, and considering you were talking about the worst Stephen King adaptation, I saw the best Stephen King adaptation last night.
Which one?
The Shining. It deserves its reputation.
The Shining. Which version? The made-for-TV one or the one with Jack Nicholson?
Yes.
All right.
The one with Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, by Mr. Kubrick.
Nice. Yes, of course.
What?
Well, I mean, Kubrick alone, I mean, visually, like that, it's stunning. Like the stuff that he does. Like as far as,
but I mean, I've been hering a few mixed things with the general statement of being it's good King, but it's good Kubrick, but bad King. But when it's good Kubrick, who cares about the King?
Right. Yeah. Oh, real quick. So here it is. The new Ninja Turtles. Leonardo is a red-eared slider.
Okay.
Michelangelo is a box shell. Donatello is the soft shell technology to help him. And then Raphael is a snapping turtle. There you go.
And now everybody's childhood is ruined.
Well, it's not like they've done bad versions of. It can't be worse than the live-action one that had Venus de Milo in it.
Right.
My sister told me that my nephew, who's about to turn 7, really liked the latest Fantastic Four movie, and I was just like, "Oh man, really?"
I can't say anything because I haven't seen it, but oh man, I wanted it to do well, and everything I've heard about it is.
Yeah. But it just goes to, to say, I mean, like, I can't think off the top of my head right now, but there was some movies I loved as a kid who they just didn't age well with me. It's just like, oh man.
I mean, for all jokes aside, I'm hearing more and more good things about the Corman version.
Oh. Yeah.
A movie I absolutely loved as a kid, but did not hold up at all well, which just shows you what an adolescent's taste. Well, let's just say, Food of the Gods was never Oscar material to begin with. So,
Food of the Gods.
Food of the Gods,
based on an H.G. Wells novel.
Okay.
I've only seen some clips of it, I think. Is it the one with the giant bees?
Oh, yeah, they're giant wasps, but mainly giant rats. Lots of giant rats eating people.
Were those Harryhausen animations or just...
They were real rats, and I do not think that the Humane Society was at all involved in this movie, because obviously these rats were being killed left and right.
Oh, man.
And then there's a lot of ones where there's a lot of things where you're almost scared to watch them as an adult because you have just enough nostalgia that you don't want it to be completely ruined.
True.
Oh, you mean like White Christmas?
I was actually thinking of the Star Wars Christmas special. I was 8 when I saw that. I know how terrible it is, but I don't want, because I kind of liked it what little I saw of it back then, I don't want to ruin that memory.
So White Christmas has this a skit involving blackface in it.
They must have edited it out in the version I've seen. I don't remember that.
It's the episode where they're going through the various holidays before they get around to Christmas. And let's see. If you can imagine Bing Crosby dressed up as Abraham Lincoln, but in blackface.
Oh.
So,
must be hysterical amnesia in my case, because I watched it last year and I'm sure I would have remembered that.
When you first said Fruit of the Gods, I thought you meant The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Oh.
And I was like, what do you mean? That movie is amazing.
That one actually holds up quite well, considering the subject matter.
And you're thinking giant rats? I don't remember giant rats and food.
I was like, what are you talking about? And then I realized that you're not talking about that.
No. As much of a threat to society Coke bottles are.
Right? And badgers.
Badgers?
I don't
Remember
remember.
it stole his shoe and then chased after him?
Oh.
That's
Mojave.
right. Yeah.
Honey badger was a thing before it was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me, like, I really still love UHF, but it's because I loved it so much as a kid.
Yeah.
But,
UHF, everybody knew it was bad even then. It's
yeah.
And they love it because it's that bad.
Yeah, it's not winning Oscars for sure, but
No.
But yeah, we don't need no stinking badgers.
No, yes.
I would absolutely love for Weird Al to make another movie. I would just be over the moon.
I've been enjoying, because I mean the guy can act. I've been enjoying him in that Milo Murphy cartoon.
Milo Murphy cartoon?
Yes, it's by the same guys who did Phineas and Ferb. And matter of fact, it takes place in the same universe, and several of the characters from Phineas and Ferb become regular cast members. But essentially, Milo Murphy is the inheritor of the original Murphy, as in Murphy's Law. And essentially the guy, he's a very good-natured, optimistic walking disaster area, and it's hilarious.
Did I just hear the robot say it's 5:30?
You heard the robot say it was 5:30. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both, everyone, again for coming and joining with another episode of Epic Sketch Time.
Yay.
For people who are watching this and would like to participate, there is down in the descriptions here, you will find links to participants who show up more than 3 times. That would include myself and Ian and Russ and, of course, Bill, who's already abandoned us for greener.
I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there.
Still, next time I'll remember to turn off the share.
So be sure to check out our links. And there's also a subscription where you can sign up to be, send out a notification the weekend before to let people know whether or not the event's going to be happening. And then about 15 to half an hour before the event goes live, we send out an invite for everyone to comment. And thank you all again for showing up. I'm looking forward to seeing what your Inktober creations are next week.
Cool.
Me too. See you guys.
Ciao.
See ya.
Bye.